This is the Easter season, and it's the longest celebration in our church year. It's done so that we may celebrate Jesus' resurrection every day and make it a habit. So that would be in order for us to live that conversion of heart that Peter speaks of in the first reading. One way we can think of ourselves being resurrected is to think of Lent as being our tomb, our darkness from which we must emerge. We are with Jesus in the tomb where darkness surrounds us. When Jesus resurrected himself, he came out of the tomb. He came out to the light, to the passing of sin and death. We too are meant to live in the light. We are to have all sin wiped away and live in his commandments. In order to do this, we need to have a repentant heart, and that heart must be changed from one of cold stone to one of love. Maybe even Judas recognized this was what it was all about. Andrew Lloyd Webber, in his musical Jesus Christ Superstar, gives us a bit of a different take on Judas than I think we've ever seen. Our traditional understanding is that Judas betrayed Jesus, the man that took him into his inner circle and trusted him as a close friend, a confidant, maybe even a brother. There's been little, if no reason, as to why Judas betrayed Jesus. But the musical shows us that Judas, not happy with how Jesus was using his status and almost squandering the progress that Jesus had made with the people, Judas begins to doubt who Jesus really is and begins to see him as no more than just a man. As a result, he betrays Jesus and turns him over to the authorities, and they show Judas accepting money that would make him rich beyond belief. Judas sold out because he does not believe that Jesus would ever bring about the change that he preached. And Judas also believed that the full weight of the Roman Empire was about to come down on them. Judas laments, "Every time I look at you, I don't understand how you let the things you did get so out of hand." And then he goes on to his betrayal. But it seems that Judas rethinks his actions. Then he seems to realize maybe he did do wrong. He laments again and sings, "I don't know how to love you." Judas seems to have repented and wanted to change things, but doesn't know how. A conversion of heart seems to have taken place, late as it was. And Jesus seems to know that this conversion was going to take place because he never condemned Judas. Jesus may have said that his betrayer would have been better off had he never been born, but that's only a statement of how that person would feel throughout their life because of what sin they had committed. Jesus never said the man would be condemned. So if Judas repented, if his heart was converted, no matter how close to his death, we are to believe that he was forgiven for his betrayal or sin. Through repentance, Judas possibly came to realize how to love Jesus. Conversion is another thing. The second reading tells us to keep his commandments. Those who say, "I know him," but do not keep his commandments are liars. The way to keep the commandments after being repentant for sin is to convert to Jesus' ways. We know his ways. We hear it here every week. Doing it is another matter, but how we do it is between us and God. One way to keep our new heart is through the Eucharist. The gospel tells us that Jesus was made known to the two disciples in the breaking of the bread. It goes on to say that Jesus ate with them. Jesus shared a meal with them. And this is when they recognized Jesus. Maybe it's because they shared a meal the night Jesus was betrayed. Maybe it's because sharing a meal is something that we all do every day throughout our lives. But the significance here is that we all have that chance to recognize Jesus. We are all called to communion each week, and our Mass is the preparation or the build-up to that sacred meal. Jesus had to suffer and die so that we may all share in this Eucharist, in the normalcy of everyday life. He had to be resurrected in order for us to understand that he is actually present in this meal. Each time we come to this building, each week we receive communion, we get a new start. We again resurrect ourselves in his Spirit with the nourishment of that Eucharist. Jesus is present in the Eucharist, and we must be present to him. We are to prepare ourselves to receive him as he prepared himself for us. Resurrection to new life is what our faith is all about. And this season is the time to rejoice in that faith.